So this is the disposal lens for Nikon Z mount. So it's a 28mm 1.2 autofocus lens. No, it's not, but it is 28mm, and I love 28mm lens focal length. It's great for street and travel, but it's advertised as an f10, and everything's in focus from about 1.5 meters. I think it's a bit further than that, really. So I got this as a present, and I didn't know these existed, and I was like, surely that won't fit on my Nikon Z. And well, it does. So it just fits on like that. You put it in the lens, you find the right way around, and then it clicks in really well. And then it's just simply ready to use. And it's amazing how it actually fills the frame of a full frame Nikon, which is amazing, really. The lens is a lot smaller than the sensor, but there we go. I find that the image files are more like an old mobile phone than a disposable camera. I feel they kind of have that flat kind of image profile because it's f10, so everything's in focus. So disposal lenses run from Etsy, and it's really transparent and clear what you're getting. So they say it's the lens faults are its lens features, which is a really nice way to put it. So it's got everything wrong with it you can possibly imagine. Especially the sides are really distorted, blurred, vignetting, softness, chromatic aberration, everything you can think of. But that's a lens feature, because you're trying to recreate old cameras and lenses of the past. Most importantly, they're clear on Etsy. The look comes from the actual film type of Kodak, not the lens. Because nowadays, of course, we use editing techniques to recreate the style that we want. But the image profiles do have a look of an old digital camera to me. So it's quite flat and everything f10. So when you're shooting, it's kind of fun because all you're thinking about is composition. There's nothing to think about focus difference or aperture usage. Everything's in focus, or kind of focus. Nothing's really that sharp in it. Okay, so let's look at some images, and I was probably shooting a bit too close here. I think the shooting distance is more like 2 meters. But if you can crop in, when you're shooting, I mean this is nearly 2000 ISO, but the cameras can deal with it, as we know, and just adding a bit of colour there just really makes the image pop a bit. I mean that looks like a mobile phone kind of image. To get it more retro, I mean you can add sharpness or even add a bit of grain to it and make it look really nostalgic. I think if the ISO goes too high, all those lens features or issues are too much even to make any kind of usable image there. And obviously here's a great subject here. Not posing at all, this is just the way I look. But yeah, I've just added a bit of saturation increase and it kind of makes it look nice. There's not much more I'd want to do with it. My presets don't interact with it the same as it normally would for Nikon files. You know, you can make them really moody if you wanted to, but a lot of it is in the editing, obviously. I find black and white does really well with these files from this lens. Obviously a great pose there, obviously, for me. I mean, this is indoor use, nearly hitting 30,000 ISO, only at 1/60th. And so the images aren't going to look so good indoors. But to be fair, it does look like it's taken on an old digital camera. And I did try and take it out with me when I was doing other things, and in some situations the files don't look so good. Again, adding saturation does bring them to life a lot. But when there's highlights of light, they're just a bit... Maybe that's to do with you have to choose your subjects a bit more carefully with this lens. Obviously, when the sun's out, it's really intense. But maybe that's an effect you can utilise if used carefully. I would say that shooting at f10 is a new experience to me because I never do that. And it does create a certain look with photos. And together with the lens features and distortions and so forth, it does create a look. I'm not sure I'm the biggest fan of this look, but it does have a look on its own. It's quite fun. And would I say the lens has a strong enough look to really make it different? Not really. I mean, maybe I could shoot at f10 with another lens which is quite small and get the same kind of look. When using the software, you can create quite a sharp image there if your ISOs are low enough. I mean, to me, yeah, this kind of does look like an old digital camera or mobile phone, which is fun. I mean, The TikTok generation are actually buying old digital cameras to create this look, which modern cameras can't do now because modern cameras are much better, obviously. But most interestingly, I think about the future potential of this. What happens if you put an old mobile phone lens in this, or the iPhone lenses of now? Your camera phone lenses are really good, and they're just the same size as this. So just imagine if you put that in this lens mount instead, and actually the lenses, the image quality actually turns something quite professional and can be quite useful for the future. So I know Nikon has its 26 2.8, which is quite small and slim, but that's expensive. And what do you think? Do you think this has use for in your photography, or something you'd like to try? And maybe a use that I haven't thought of yet? Because it certainly is quite novel.